What's up, guys? So today's mission is juice and to the B5 we got some goodies and some stuff get going on this turbo build. Yeah, I wasn't planning on turboing, but now we are. So here we are. If anyone remember the T3 turbo I had on the car, this was that mock-up that play 3-inch up pipe I made. That's what we're going to put on the turbo now. So it already has a fitting for the 202 sensors and the wideband. And a block to hold the pipe to drill for those coolant lines, and this is to hold it. Some rough shit I did back in the day when I did not weld aluminum properly. And filters for catch can, and the other one is for what I'm gonna do next. And then I need my caliper to measure the spacing. And then we have this mission motor radiator. This one is for the 1.8, but I still have the 1.8 motor, hence why I went with that one first over the V6. Plus the V6 was more money. They didn't have the one I want on the CSF had it in stock, and I didn't feel like paying $400 for a radiator, especially when I'm not really considering keeping it fully in the car for now. And this is my aluminum plate to do some stuff on, like what I'm about to do with the caliper and stuff. And I'll find more hooks around the yard, so bring them into use in the shop. So you're wondering what I'm gonna do with all that shit. Well, for starters, today I only have an hour lunch, so I'm gonna prep these to get them welded, and then I'll tack the back walls of the tank, and then I'll drill a hole for the feed line, which is a -10, 8 for the return, and 6 for the breather. And then I'll be running my fuse block there because it's going down in the front where the starter is and the alternator and everything. So we'll power from there first, and then it goes up to the rest of the car, and then plumb this bad boy. And so let me get started with where this radiator is gonna go. So as we all know, 1.8 radiator has the fittings on both sides. They're nice. However, I'm still debating if I'm gonna keep them or I'm going to cut them off, because I wanted to put the -20 fittings I got on there. So that's what I had in mind. And where the hell are those fittings? Somewhere about the place. So let's see. I also got to bend the tubing for the coolant pipe, so I'll be using my Rogue Fab tube bender shortly. Get this tube work done. I've got all this damp sitting here. I need to get all these things on the car, and then eventually after that I gotta put the extra stuff back on the car, and then we'll get started from there. So after that, then we can add the extra piece in and we'll make it work. This is where the GoPro comes in handy, because trying to move stuff around in the garage with one hand makes for harder work. So like I was saying, -20 fitting along with 1.5-inch tube. It's a 125 wall aluminum tube. As you see how thick the flanges on the bottom of the -20 fitting, so fits perfectly, decent flow. No, not much restriction on the radiator, which is what I don't want because we're going to put it in the trunk, so don't need any form of restrictions. So that's an 1.5 inch tube, which is comparable to the stock fitting that comes on these radiators. So flow too, if you notice, is pretty much almost identical. The stock weld on fitting, if you cut it off and weld it on, the flow is pretty much the same. So I will reuse these flanges, so I'll just cut it off right up just above the weld, and then I'll weld this one on so I can mount it in the car. This short piece of aluminum tube will basically be the transition point in here, because I'm gonna, along the leg, run the tube here, and then I'll make a 180 degree -20 fitting, because I'm gonna cut this off and weld another and 20 fitting on here, and then I'll loop it 180 bam, and so that I can run the line back to the chassis. I was gonna run it down here, but with the heat right there and the axle and all the good stuff, I could mount it along the chassis leg, so I might do that. I'm not sure, but I didn't want the heat from the manifold to radiate down here and heat up the pipe, so I was going to run it along the chassis leg at the top for this side. As for the other side, as you see, it's a steel fitting. I was going to take that one out and modify the pipes at the back of the head and run aluminum, but I have a 90 degree L pipe I got in stainless steel that I was mistakenly given, so I might reuse it and just keep this side stainless steel and run it to the back of the motor to connect the other side of the pipe. If not, I will put two -20 fittings in the back and just run them separately. So this side is still need to be ironed out. And got the AAM oil pressure switches with weight in there, so making progress. So yeah, mission motor 1.8. So with all the pipes in here, so as it sits, this is the feed line for the front. This will be a -10. So yes, I'm running dual fuel setup. In the trunk will be the 10-gallon aluminum tank, which will sit right here. If you guys remember from back in the video, I did a bracket to mount it. Complete cage worked. So that's it right there. And then the water pump is gonna sit here. That will feed the radiator that's gonna stand right here, and then it will be ducted through the floor on top of the diffuser that will be coming out the back. And the lines that I bought, which all these fittings will be welded onto, that'll be mounted here. They'll come through here on the side, which will come out in the back, and then that will be the hard line through the chassis, because the floor want to be flat, don't need anything under it. So all the lines, every fuel, electric wire will be run through the chassis, and they will be covered per regulations. They will come through here, then fitting will be in the back here, then rubber lines to the water pump, to the tank, and also to the radiator. So that's the gist of the makeup for the rear, as per Alright. So as for today, the mission is still simple. So those are the fittings to be welded. Gonna clean these up, give them a good scrub, get me pad, and get a bucket and soap. This will be welded on the bottom there. So this is how deep it will be. Bam. I chopped these, by the way, with a metal shear at work. So now I'm gonna wash these so I can get started. This is a T66. As you can see, there are 0.09 to wall, so nice thick. Yes, it got some weight. Even though we're trying to take away weight from the front, I want a stiff, sturdy fuel cell. I didn't want no flimsy one. So yes, you're supposed to be taking away weight from the front of the vehicle, which is what was my intentions. But by the time I add back those 2 bars on there, put the skid plate on at the bottom along with diffuser, that will add back the weight, probably more than what the stock front was. So a little weight penalty. Want the front to be strong and stiff, and the tank to be also strong and stiff, even though a bar will go around it just like in drag racing. So let's get to work, son. Yes, I know the water is dirty. Pay he no mind. Yeah, getting old. Can't bend too long. Getting fat. Alright. Need soap. Do I have soap? Soap. Soapy soap. The hell is this? Simple green will work. Even better. Simply green. So, all road is for sale, by the way. B7 swap is coming next. B5 working on. B5 in the works. Jedi in the works. So all these cars we're trying to get done. Hopefully for next year's season we'll be ready. So we'll see. So stay tuned. Like I said, it's kind of hard to watch these with hands, so we'll resume the video in a few. Be back, guys. Alright, so now I'm back. So now they're all washed, clean up nice. Now we're going to bring these and get them ready for prep work. Now for a bite. Alright, so my approach to doing this, since it's the first time I'm going to be making a goddamn fuel tank. No, I'm good. Thank you, sir. Is, what time is it? I need to get back to work soon. I clocked out at 1. Okay, so obviously this is the bottom, 4 sides. The top is still up in the air for me in terms of how it's gonna be done, because I didn't fully yet commit to how and what I'm gonna put on it. I have to mount back the headlights to see where I'm gonna put the neck, and also which side I'm going to run the breather line on. More likely to the fender, but again when I pop it in then I'll see. But for right now I'm just gonna tack the 4 corners together. No, 3 corners first, then I'll drill a hole to mount the dash stand. So the dash stand obviously gonna be on one of the dirtier pieces, which is one of these 2. Reason why they look dirty, that's not oxidation. They were used as a floor plate for the jack when I roll them under the car. That's what they were used for. So on this side we're going to put the fit in, and then the other one would be the back against the chassis leg. So this will be the chassis leg, this will be the one we'll be drilling. So let's get to work. So now I'll be using dash 10 fitting feed to a filter, obviously first to the pump, and then from the pump to the rail is a 8. So this is a high flow 8 fitting that I gotten from Quantum Technologies, and the back good old Bash 444. Eventually these will be replaced by a weld on fuel pump, but for now it's just a Bosch setup. So we're going to be welding this 10, so I'll be using the indexing of this ring in the back here to center it in the hole for the fuel cell. So going to drill a hole, mount it as low as possible to the bottom, because that's what we want to get all the fuel, so we don't have starvation when we're running it. There might be I might do a slight slant of the tank. I should have done that when I've cut the other sides. So whereas instead of making it flat, I'll make a slight up curve, so all the fuel will be down in the corner. But it's fine. This is just temporary. I'm thinking I'm going to be using it for drag racing, so if that is the case, then it should be alright, because it's probably only going to hold a gallon or 2 gallons. I doubt it'll hold more than that. So first things first, we need a pilot hole in that plate, and then after that I need the drill bit to punch this hole. Really, sorry guys, this is me just trying to work with one hand. Because this don't belong in this drawer. That's where the freaking problem started. Yeah, trying to record and film with one hand, I was better off using my chesty on my GoPro. But I will get to that eventually as I start putting out more videos. But for right now, this will have to suffice. I know this came from this thing. Oh, there it go, comes from in the middle there. Get that in. Get it in. And now I'm going in. Alright. Come on. So after I punch the hole, I'm gonna need a drill bit. And then I'm gonna need a step drill to go wider. Step drill bit is somewhere about the place. Just gotta find it. Gotta find it. Gotta find it. Oh, there you go. Oh, oh. I know it's in here somewhere. Yeah. And how big is a dash 10 fitting? Could use a dial caliper and just measure it. If you know, you know. Got this from Pegasus Auto Racing. That's the part number. As Ghost Boy Aki would call it, giving you gems. So there you go. Hey, don't look at my name. Oh, dude, it's not my name. So, yeah. Get rid of that. Ooh, what do we have here? Mi toyo. Of course, the battery fall out. Yeah, this thing been through some work. It was at a machining shop before I took over it. So bear with me on this one. Let me zero this bad boy out. hard to do this with one hand, but hey, we gonna get it done. All right. What are we on, millimeter? So it's roughly 1997. That's the year that Tupac and Biggie got shot. So bam. So it's the fourth one from the top. Bam. Okay, move that. Put that over there. I know I want this sucker centered. So give me that. Take this off. Give me that. Yep, we're using the good old ground for this one. Yeah, no, I just washed the plate. Yes. It's gonna get dirty, defeat the purpose. Yes, I'm well aware. But when you have a temporary makeshift setup, make do, right? And you all know I definitely ain't gonna do this with one hand, right? So let's see. I think right there should be good, because by the time we weld the okay, should I do this to the corner or do it in the middle? Because by the time put the fit in the pump, I'm gonna offset this slightly, only due to the fact that the I'll do it in the middle, slightly off to the right, because due to the fact that by the time you have the 90-degree, the filter and the pump, it's gonna take a couple of inches. Well, oops, sorry. Nice. Prepare thine ears, it's gonna be loud. Yes, there's quieter methods that could have been used, but my punch is under a billion things over there. No time for that. So let's start that off with a small bit, a baby bit. And this is what I do on my lunch break. Got school later, after work, directly after work, so there's no time to come back here until in the night. So we made do. I ate lunch while I was working. So I'm not hungry. Trying to use up my hour as wisely as possible to wrench, work, and get this car going. I'm dying to hear that big beast of a turbo in the box going. Mind you, this motor is not built either. This is stock to the T 2.8 that's in that car. Gonna be running a goddamn near and almost 900 horsepower turbo. It's just for the kicks. That turbo is really gonna go on my 1.8 when I eventually decide to get it to FFE to build. Should have made a bigger hole. Alright, let me drill this hole, and then when I get it ready to mock up, I'll get back to you guys.